All right, here we go. A few people wanted to see this tear down, so I'm going to take this bottom end apart and see what I find and go through it with you. First off, you have to take this oil level sensor out first. I mean, it's possible to keep it in the pan, but you could also break it that way. So you just take it out like this, and then take this O-ring right here. There's a couple little groove spots in here that are supposed to keep this O-ring inserted. So just keep that in a safe, clean spot. And then let's go ahead and move over to the T30. These things are oily and nasty. I probably should have, I mean, I'm not that much of a fan of gloves. I prefer not to wear gloves, but probably should have done something like this. It still makes it just a little bit more difficult, but all right, now once all those are out, it's time to pop this pan off. And how we do that is we'll just take the flathead screwdriver in the back here. This thing has already been off before, so it comes off super easy. Now I flipped this thing upside down, so I don't know for sure if I'll find that little tensioner paw that I talked about in my last video. Since I flipped it upside down, you know, it might have fallen back down on the ground, and I'm not going to go through all that. But this is another thing that, you know, it's drenched in oil, and need to take this thing off and put it in a clean spot as well. Someone torqued that bolt down tighter than the rest of them. All right. I'm just gonna set it on top of the cylinder head for now. Get right back to it. Let's get these bolts out of the way. Moving on to our triple square. And we'll grab the 3/8 impact. This oil pump is still perfectly fine. I'll be reusing it. Want to make sure that that screen is still installed, and it is not. It's completely missing. Stop getting rid of the screen in here. I've already showed that in another video. Stop doing that. Why? Just adds to another thing that's wrong with this build. Whoever put this thing together last. It's just so frustrating. So this is another scenario where I'm gonna grab me, this time I'm just gonna grab a shop towel. There's a couple of them right here. I'm gonna only waste one. And I'm gonna stick this oily oil pump on top of here. Throw the chain around its neck, and we'll put it to the side as well. Now back to the old triple square. And I just kind of know where these are down here in this oil. I say that, and then I go fishing for it and can't find it. So oily. But what do you expect? You're taking apart an engine. I don't think I took that one out. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I did. There's. See, it makes it a little bit more difficult when you can't see what you're doing. I'm I'm glad I'm not blind. This socket's fallen off the end of my impact because that hog ring is all worn out, and I bought new hog rings as well. So in another video I'm going to show popping on new retaining rings on the impact. So what I typically do in this case with this like this is I just pop it up and stand it up. So you just pop it up like that, and then I'm just gonna stand it up like this, and I'll clean up the floor later. I'll get the bolts. All right, now before anything else happens, this thing needs cleaned up. Definitely needs cleaned up before you start taking the bearings apart. Let's try to get it leveled out a little bit. We're going to scrape away from the block. Definitely don't go using a whizzer wheel or anything like that. It really doesn't have to be that crazy clean. It just needs to be scraped off. This upper oil pan, as far as I'm aware, I've never seen it leak. It's pretty easy to seal back up. I like to see how there's a little bit of silicone in this hole. I like to get all the silicone out though. You see, I pop that out. See, like there's a little bit of silicone right there. I like to pop that out. I like to get all of it out. And then it's usually a good idea to get a microfiber type of cloth. These towels work pretty well just for cleaning oil off. These are just like shop towels. They work, they're still a little bit linty, but I'm doing this before I take it apart. The best thing to use is, like I said, a microfiber cloth, but I'm just trying to absorb some of this oil. Now, let's inspect these caps. There's my flashlight somewhere. We got 43 with a line, 43 with a line, 40. Okay, they're all the caps are on correctly. That's a good sign. Now let's take out these rods. Is that not right? It's this one. Back to the 3/8 impact. Now this isn't really a good idea to use a 3/8 impact to zip all these out. I'm used to doing it, so I can do it, but you can easily strip these out. It's better to break them loose by hand. See, that one just popped off and started skipping. It's easy for that to happen. So don't use impacts on this. See that? That was a perfect example. That could have ended badly. Now let's see if there's any stripped. You know, it still looks pretty good, but impacts are dangerous with that kind of stuff. You know, impacts are kind of sloppy anyway, but all right, so I'm going to make myself room right here for those cam caps. I'm gonna move this stand over here so I can line it up, and it's gonna go in order. It's gonna go just like this. So here's how I I kind of just roll that out so that let's see how clean and nice those bearings are. So we're just going to set that right there. I got a little technique to where I rock them out and it pulls the bearings out with it. So here we have our 23 millimeter rods. When I'm talking about 23 millimeter, I'm talking about this wrist pin. So this is 2013 and up rods, and that's what it requires whenever you buy these quality, most revised waffle ring style pistons. Now these are the OEM Volkswagen pistons with the waffle ring. So I've also got, since I'm putting different rods in it, I'm gonna go ahead and put new bearings in it. I've got these Engine Tech bearings. It says made in the USA right on it, so they should be pretty good. These pistons, they keep on going up in price. They cost about 200 bucks a piece. Ain't cheap. The rods are pretty pricey as well. These are OEM Audi rods. So let's unbox this as well. Yep, so we want to be real careful with this plastic. I don't want to scratch or damage anything. Get my side cuts here. Some people call these things dikes. What's up with that? We need to work on our language. That might offend the LGBTQ RSYZ community. There we go. Now these are standard bearings. They're the same top and bottom. Carefully set them right here. And I'm just gonna load them up one by one. So these are the old spent bolts. I just kept them on there to keep them together because these are cracked caps that fit perfectly together. So you see what they looked like. They would have been fine. These bearings would have been fine. Now this is a clean, brand new lint-free cloth. I'm just going to wipe out the oil and we'll insert these bearings. Some bearings have like a little notch that fits in. These just slide right in, which is kind of crazy. There's no notch or anything. You just pop them in. And try to get them even. Now I'll go ahead and just set this back together. And you continue that process all the way through. All right, once that's all done, then we can install our pistons. Now, these pistons have to go on the same way all the way across. Now this dot side, there's a little dot right here. That's the divot side. Dot the divot. So that means that the intake divots go towards that dot right there. So it goes like this. And let's keep that the same way all the way across. That's how they came apart, so that's the way I'm gonna put it back together. Beautiful. Then we take a pick, preferably a straight pick, just like this, and then the gap goes at the top. So we'll stick it in here like this. We'll put this side in the corner, and then we'll take our pick in here and just roll it in. We really want to pay special close attention that that circlip is all the way inserted all the way around. It can't be popped out a little bit on any. If you're going through these quickly and trying to be in a rush, you could destroy your engine that way. So just do the rest just like that. That's what I was talking about with that circlip. You see how that one's not fully inserted? So you go back and it's possible that that thing could pop itself out, and then you would completely destroy your piston.